Welcome to smiklearn React Programming Part 5. In this Part 5, we are going to continue with the same hooks, and this time I am going to show you a different hooks functions in this session. Okay, so first we will see what is use context. Use context is another function in the React hooks. So this is manage all the state variables globally. So use context is for managing the state variables globally. And then when you pass one data from a top level component, that is parent components, into a different components, from one component to different component. So it inside the parent component we can have any number of child components, right? So when you are passing the data from parent component to in-depth child component, that time the data will be maintained. Okay, but state variable will not maintain the value. The state variable will be valid only in the one component. When you go to child component, that state variable values goes up. But this use context will work inside the child component also, and again inside the child component. So how many child components you have inside? No, that deeply it goes. That value will be maintained. Mainly, this type of global state variable is used for a person who is a login. A person, if he is logging into the website, no, they maintain the login till he logs out or till he closes the browser. So this type of maintenance, this type of login maintenance can be done using this use context variable. So use context is for managing the state variable globally, right? So whenever data is passed via context, the updating can be done. So we can update the data whenever data is passed. So if you in the in-depth child components if you update the data, that will be updated in the main components also. The entire use context will get updated. That's what they are saying it. And then we have the syntax called use context, some context. So use context, I am going to show an example how to use context in the programming, React programming. Here is an example I can show you. First you will start with the index.js. You can see here index.js, right? From there we can start. So first we have to use the theme provider. I have created one function called theme provider. The theme provider is available inside the component theme. So I have created one file called theme. So inside the component folder, I created a file called theme. The theme has the has the create context function. So you have to import that React create context, use state from React. So export constant theme construct equal to create context. So first you have to create a context. So which variable you are going to use? No, for that variable we have to create a context. So that is called as create context. So that create context is the theme context. I have declared the variable here and I have exported here. Export constant theme constant equal to create context. So this create context can be called in different functions. So I will show you where all it is called here. So first I am going to create this create context here in this program, and then I have created another function called theme provider. So where it will render these children inside that theme. So we have the two state variables here. One single variable here, theme, set theme. So theme is the getter and set theme is the setter. So use state light. Okay. So this is the state variable I have declared theme, set theme. Then I have called the toggle theme. Toggle theme is a function here. This is the arrow function. We are using it here. So what this toggle theme will do, it will set the theme. Previous theme equal to light. Then it is dark. Otherwise it is light. So it will check the previous value of the theme variable. Okay. If the theme variable previous value is light, then it will act as a dark. If the previous theme value is not light, it will be print as a light. Okay. This is the conditional render we are doing it, conditional setting we are doing it here. Okay, so based on previous theme, if the previous value, it is actually a previous theme is nothing but the previous value of the theme variable. Okay, so the previous value, if it is light, then it will change it to dark. If it is not light, it will change it to light. That's what they are saying it. Okay, so this is set theme. Now we have to return this theme provider. We are inside the theme provider, we have the theme context dot provider. This is the provider we have to declare. This provider will be assessed in the all the functions. Theme provider, theme context dot provider equal to theme dot toggle theme. This is the toggle theme, it should be called here, and the theme variable should be passed here. Theme comma toggle theme. Theme is for setting the variable value, toggle theme for setting the value. Okay. Then we will render the children inside this. What are the theme provider are passing the children now? The children will be rendered here, and then this will be entered. Theme context dot provider. So first you have to create a context, and then we have to create a provider. That provider will toggle the theme from light to dark or dark to light. Like that will be toggling it. That is called as toggle button. Okay. So now in the index.js, I have imported the theme provider. Inside the theme provider, I have rendered the app. The entire app will be rendered inside the app. Okay. Now we'll go to the app.js. In the app.js, I have created one button called switch to button. So this is the button I have created. Switch to theme equal to light. If it is light, this will become dark. If it is not light, this will become light. Okay. So switch to dark theme. Switch to light theme. That will like this it will show. When I click this button, this will call the toggle theme. The toggle theme is inside the use context. So I am importing that component theme here. Theme context is imported here. That theme context I am using the use context. Use context is the one of the functions, as you said. Hooks as a theme components. So the theme context is be called here. Okay, from the component theme. So this use context, I have created the context there in the theme. That context will be called here and it is be used here. So whenever a variable gets changed, the entire theme will be get changed. Okay, that is called a toggle theme. So the background I am setting the theme light now, then it will show white. If it is not light, it will show another color. If the front end color, it will be a light, then it will show a black. If it is not light, it will show a white. So I will run this program, I will show you how it works. Okay. So if I run this program, you can see this switch to dark theme. You can see here, right? Switching to dark theme. So the entire theme will be get changed. This is how the themes work. So the use context will be a global variable where the entire theme will work for the whole program. So like this, the entire programs works because it is inside the app, right? The theme provider is inside the app. That's what we are shown here. That index.js is inside the theme provider. So theme provider will for the entire website. Okay. So this is a global variable. We can say this is a global variable. So amp.js I created on button click. So when you click this button, automatically it will be changed to light and dark. So that is the toggle theme. This will call this toggle theme. This toggle theme is called here. That toggle theme is using this theme context. The theme context comes from component.theme. The component.theme has toggle theme. So this will be changing from light to dark and dark to light. This theme, toggle theme will be called here. So like this you have to pass it. So this toggle theme, if you click on this toggle theme, this will call this toggle theme. The toggle theme is calling from theme.js. That theme.js will call this toggle theme. So it will be changing the theme here. Okay. So the entire children, inside the entire children will be changing this light to dark or dark to light. This is the program. In hooks, we are going to see another function called use reference. Use ref, initial value. So whenever you set a initial value, this use reference variable is just like a state variable. But whenever you change any value, that will not get re-rendered. That is the use reference value. Whenever a value is get changed for the use reference, that value will not be re-rendered in the page. But the state variable, whenever you change the state variable, immediately the page get re-rendered. Okay. So same way, use reference will not get re-rendered. So a reference value that not be used for re-rendering. Okay. So it preserves the value of various re-renders and do not cause re-renders whenever a value is changed. So this will preserve the value. It will preserve the previous value. What all value you have set, no, that value it will be preserved and does not make any re-rendering. Okay. So mainly for saving the previous value, we can use reference. Okay. So this will manipulating the DOM with the reference, avoiding recreating the reference context. Okay. So I will show an example here. So how to use reference variable. So you can see here, I have declared use reference here from React. So using the use reference, you have to set the initial value. No, I am setting the initial value as 0. So constant reference var use reference. So use reference is a variable, is like a state variable where I am setting the value as 0. So the initial value will be 0. I am setting the reference variable here. Again, I am calling this reference variable dot current is equal to reference variable dot current plus 1. That means current means it is a current state. Okay, you can say previous value. Instead of saying current state, you can say previous value. Previous value plus 1. I am just incrementing on value whenever a show name is get clicked. When this show name is clicked, I am using the show name here. So whenever on click is done, this show name is getting clicked. So this function will be called, and then the reference variable value will be get incremented. Reference dot current equal to reference dot current plus 1. Dot current is the previous value. Okay. Then I am printing this reference value here. Reference dot current. If it has a reference current value, then here is a reference value called reference dot current equal to null. If it is reference dot current, it has value, then it will print this here the value. Otherwise, it will show null. Okay. So I am running this program now. You can see now I am just refreshing it, and I am just typing here and then selecting one kingdom and clicking render here. You can see enter the name and you selected country. Here is a reference value called 1, right? So 1 will be getting rendered. It will not be rendered. You can see that is not getting rendered. So if I type it also, it is not getting rendered, re-rendered. So it will show only the previous value. Now this all state variable, this is getting re-rendered, but this value is not getting re-rendered. Okay, so it will remain the same value. The previous value, what you change, no, that the value will be remain same. So that is called as use reference. So we can use this use reference whenever you want in the website where you need a programming, in the React programming. Okay, use reference is also one of the variable which does not get changed its value, which does not get re-rendered whenever a values get changed. Okay, so that is called as use reference. Next we are going to see use reducer function. This is also one of the hooks functions in the React programming. Use reducer. Reducer is also one of the state variable. Okay, so like this we have many state variables in React programming, as you said, as I seen previously. Use state, use reference, and then we have the use context. Like this, use reducer is also one of the variable, state variable, where this can be used globally. Use render, use reducer. Okay, so use reducer is one of the new concept introduced in the React hooks in React 18. Okay, so you can add a reducer to your component. So you can set the state variables in the reducer also, and you can write a reducer function here. Avoid recreating the initial value. So the initial value should not be recreated. That's what the use reducer function. I'll show how this use reducer function works in the program. I'll show you in the program. So first what you have to do is I have to declare a use reducer here. You can see here use reducer. So I'm using a use reducer from React. Then I'm just using this use reducer here, constant user dispatch use reducer method comma user data. So use reducer function uses a method. This is a function we have to use. So that function we can see here. This is a method I am calling here. So use reducer uses a function comma the data. So the data I have declared here. This is the user data. So this user data is a array variable. You can see this. This is called as array of objects. So I declared on first array that is ID, name, and then age and admin. This is one array, one object, first object. So like this we can have array of objects. Now, so this use reducer accept two arguments, one is method and second one is data. So second I have declared the data, and first is reducer method. This is a reducer method is called here, and it accepts user comma action. Users means this user is nothing but this is the user here. Okay, this user comma action. Action is dispatch. So there are user is the variable, action is the dispatch function. Okay. So what it does is it will call this console.reducer.method, and then if the action type is equal to add user, where I am calling this add user, I will show you. So you can see here the add user, I am adding it here, another button called handle add user, create user. So this is another button I am creating, create user, that when you click this create user button, that is called as on click handle user, this will call this handle add user. Okay. So I am passing event here, that event is not either actually, the name you are getting it now, that reference the state variable value, that value you are setting it here, right, set name, that value will comes here, and just user.name equal to name, user.id equal to 2, user age I am adding it, user admin is equal to false, because we are set like this, right, id equal to 1, name equal to 1, same way I am setting it here, and then this will call the dispatch function, dispatch action. This dispatch action I am sending a two variable here, one is type variable, another is the user variable. This type is equal to add user, new user equal to user. Okay, so this will dispatch this function, this will come this reducer method, then action type is equal to add user, that user variable you are getting it here, and action is equal to new user. Okay, this is previous value, this is new value. So this new value will be setting here, right, let user equal to array of objects, then I am assigning the value here, I am sending this variable here, array variable, object variable, this object variable will be called here, and the item will be added here to this user data. So actually reducer method is nothing but it is adding the data to the user. Okay, I will run it and show you, so I can see the output here. I am just refreshing it. So first time it is rendering. How it is rendering, you can see here, I am just rendering here. So this is the list of user, I am rendering it here, and then you can see the table here. In the table I have declared ID, name and age, and then users.map. Where is that users.map? This is the user data, right? The user data is getting rendered inside the users. Okay, so that user data will be shown here, user.map, user comma idx. So user.id, user.name, user.age. So it's a object variable, right? So we can refer like this, user.id, user.name, user.age. So where is that user comes from? This is coming from here. Okay. So first time it will show the screen like this. First time it will show like this. I am adding a new user here. I am just saying Suresh, Rajan, and then I am selecting one same state here and just say create user. So you can see here automatically get rendered. So Suresh Rajan is added here. So this is an example of use reducer. So let me repeat once again. First we have to declare a user data, and then we have to declare a user method here. That is a render reducer method here. I am just calling this reducer method here. Use reducer, reducer method and user data. Then it is a user variable, that is a object variable, and the dispatch is the action. Okay. So this is an I am just repeating it, and then when you click this handle user button on create user button, this handle user will be called, and then it will set the value, and the dispatch function will be executed. So the dispatch function will call this reducer method, and action dot type is equal to add user, because I am setting the value here add user, right? Add user I am setting it. So that will call this add user case, that is action dot type add user, and then this is the previous value and this is the new value will be added, so that it get rendered. So that is the new value is added here. Okay. Next we are going to see a use callback function, which is also another hooks function which is mostly used in most of the programming. This is mainly used for memory optimization, memorization, so they will call it as. So this memorization can be used for memory optimization. Okay, use memo, use callback, all these are for memory optimization. Memory optimization means making the memory usage less. That's what they use callback method. So let me explain this use callback method. It will return the function does not get recreated on a new memory reference every time the component is re-rendered. Usually whenever a component is re-rendered, this will remove that existing component, this will recreate another component. That's what happening. But if you use callback hooks method, this will not create a new component, this will return the same function whenever there is a re-render. Okay, while the normal function inside the component does. So normal function, what normal component does, it will be removed and then a new component is created and then it will be re-rendered. That's what is happening. But if you use callback function, that will not happen. So this will reduce the memory usage. So the rendering will be very faster. Okay, that is called as use callback is one of the advanced advanced hooks function used in the React. If one of the variable inside the callback dependency changes, the new function gets recreated on a new memory. So unless you did not do any changes to that particular dependency is nothing but the variables, the state variable which are used inside that, inside the callback function, what all the state variable you are using it. If the function that value is not getting changed, this new component will not be recreated. Okay, if there is any value changes, this new component will be recreated. Okay, but normal component will does a recreation, that is it will remove the existing memory and create a new memory when there is no value changes also. So it will skip the re-rendering of components. That is the main advantage of use callback. So mainly for memory optimization. So updating state of memorized callback, preventing an effect firing of too often. So this will reduce the preventing of effect firing. That is firing again and again, removing the component, again creating, removing the component, again creating. This will not happen when there is no changes in the value, right? So that is the main advantage of using callback function, but I have not shown here. This is only for memory optimization in the example. I am not showing the example. Next we will see we use memo. Use memo is also same as use callback only. So we have to use both the use callback and use memo. That we will see later on in the hooks programming. I will show you the example of use callback and use memo in the upcoming sessions. In this session I am just going to explain what is this use memo. Use memo returns memoized value when one of its dependency value changes. Memoized value is nothing but the memory will not be getting refreshed. The memory will not be recreated when there is no changes in the dependencies. So use memo is also is an additional thing of use callback. So you have to call this both the function. Use callback and use memo, you have to call both the function in the program to reduce the memory recreation. Skipping expensive recalculation, re-rendering of components. This will reduce the memory wastages because of re-rendering of components. Every time a component is getting created and recreating it again and again, this will reduce the recreation. So that is an advantage of using this use callback and use memo. Both the function you have to use, I will show in the upcoming session. Now we are going to see another function called useID. useID is one of the hooks function in the React programming. It generates a unique ID for accessibility attributes. It will generate only a unique ID. The ID will be used for any token generation, any token values like that we can use it. Or if you use for password hints, right? Like password and all, we can use this generate ID. So this use ID will be generated for the password. Password automatic generation, right? So you can use this use ID. Using the same ID prefix on the client and the server. You can use the same ID prefix on the client and the server. I have not shown here the example in the programming because later on we will be going to use this in the upcoming section. So this is an example of use ID. So use ID is one of the hooks function. And next we will see use form status. Use form status is nothing but it gives the information about the form submission. Usually whenever you are creating a login button, login form or the register form, whenever a form is getting submitted, that value it will show the information what all you submitted, right? So that information will be shown and then it will show the status. And also whenever you click a submit button, that it will say the pending, it will be say that the submit button will be disabled. Okay, it will disable that submit button and then the form gets submitted and the value will be stored inside the database. We can say you can get the value from the forms and then we can store it in the database. So till it gets saved, the submit button will show only pending, like that will be shown. I will show you the example for that programming. I can show the programming here. So you can see here a use form status from the React DOM. This is from React DOM, not from React. This is the React DOM. DOM means objects, the function object, the form objects. So you have the submit form here that is called as action.js. So now I am just calling this form here. So this form method is function calling this form here, and this calling this action function here. I'm just passing the action function here. That action function is nothing but it's a submit form, right? So this is the submit form. I'm just calling it. So this the submit button is submit again calling it. This function is called, and then constant pendings for use form status. So till the button is get saved, till the form is get submitted, so it will show pending. Otherwise, it will say submitting. If it is submit, initially it will be submit. So when you click on submit, this will be showing submitting. That is status is pending. Like that it will be shown. So that is called as use form status pending. Pending means still it is getting submitted. So like this, we can use form status till it gets saved in the database. So because sometimes whenever when they register form, then they type it and then just they click the register button or sign up button. This will not be getting disabled, right, till we get submitted. So the person who is seeing this form, they'll keeps on clicking the sign up button. So to avoid this, we can use form status to disable the button whenever the form is getting submitted. That is the main purpose of using the use form status hooks function, which is from React DOM. Okay, not from the React. This is from React DOM for seeing the status of form submission. That is a example I shown here. And then we are going to see the another function, destructuring. Destructuring is nothing but is a simple concept in Java. So the destructuring is a JavaScript exception that allows you to extract data from arrays or object into a new variable. So extracting, it is nothing but destructuring. So you can see here, I am declaring a default component here, and then I am just calling the component. I am passing two props here, name comma age. That name comma age, I am printing it here, name comma age. So this is called as destructuring. Usually we call props, then props.name, props.age, we will be calling it, right? So this is another concept in hooks, React hooks. So this destructuring can be done like this, name comma age. Usually what we will do in previous React version also, we will say props, that's all. Only one variable will be passing it. Then in printing here, we can say props.name, props.age. That's what we will be doing it. But in this we can do destructuring. Okay, thank you. That's all for this today's session. In upcoming session, we can see more things. Thank you for all.